All right, I will call this special meeting of the Toledo City Council for January 29, 2025 to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now take a roll call. Councilor Nix.
Here.
Councilor Kaufman is excused. Councilor Keating.
Here.
Councilor Sylvia.
Here.
Councilor Burns.
Here.
Council President Bush.
Here.
And I am here. That gives us 6, a quorum. We were able to conduct business. At this time, is there anyone who would like to speak to council? Yes. Step up, sign your name. You will have 3 minutes.
Hello, City Council. My name is Jonathan Garrison. I'm a volunteer with the Toledo Fire Department. I first want to say thank you to the City Council, Mayor Rod Cross, City Attorney Mike, Toledo Dispatchers, Chief Pace, fire departments in the county, and others for supporting us as much as you guys have. We are holding strong at the fire department with the couple volunteers that we have. Since last Wednesday, we have been continuing to serve the community since paid staff and multiple volunteers have left. We have been taking turns covering duty shifts during day and night to make sure we have at least one responder available. Some days we have 2 or more people on duty and or available to respond to calls alongside having full-time jobs. We have been doing reports to the State Fire Marshal Office for all of January calls and continuing. We have been working with our dispatchers very closely and other admin tasks that we are able to help with. There are some behind the scenes admin tasks that us as volunteers are unable to do. Examples, bringing on new volunteers, paperwork, maintenance, and etc. I give my full support to have any decision and ask for a decision for someone to be an administrative person for the fire department. We need someone to help the volunteers with the behind the scenes tasks so we can continue to respond to the citizens of Toledo and other communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there anyone else who would like to address council? Katie, sign your name and
I just have a document on the council. This is in regards to the compensation that was discussed in weeks past with Amanda Carey, as well as the council have been make a decision on the percentage that we're looking at for compensation. Okay. I know there's only a certain amount of money that we're working with here. I just wanted to bring to your attention what we're working with. You have myself as a seasoned dispatcher. I've been with the agency for almost 7 years. If you look at the top here, my overtime total since November, when this all started on November 2nd, that's the month that our lives went to hell. It is not just current. This has been ongoing. My total overtime has been 194 hours, and I received overtime compensation for that. I understand. Wendy at this point has worked 272.5. Many of that because 127 is because I have been out of the office myself because I've been unable to work. Her projected overtime next month is 70 without my assistance. Colton down at the bottom, deeply appreciate him being there, doing everything that he can. He is still an integral part of our dispatch. He's worked 45 hours since this all started for the overtime. Much of that is because his counterpart was the dispatcher that left. He's not able to pick up much of that overtime. You have the bonus amount based on our yearly salaries and what we would be looking at that 10%. My salary, my bonus would be in the neighborhood of 6,600. Wendy herself being topped out would be in the neighborhood of 5,600, and she's worked 272 hours of overtime. Colton down at the bottom, Again, I am not diminishing him. He's worked 45 hours of overtime. He would be looking at a bonus of $5,371. $300 difference between Wendy, who has busted her ever living ass for this department, and the city. I want to reconsider what we're looking at here, because it's absolutely ridiculous when you tell me that there's not the money, because you're looking at 5, 10, 15, you're looking at under $20,000 for 3 people. And I'm here fighting for dispatch. I've been here religiously every single time fighting for dispatch. You can do whatever you want to with patrol. I don't see a single officer here that has come in and fought for their department. I'm here fighting for dispatch. You can do it separately. Dispatch is its own thing. Patrol can be done separately. I would like this reconsidered deeply. This is not a one-time thing. Page 2 is the difference between a compensation and a bonus. This is from Cambridge Dictionary Online. Just the verbiage alone, if you're gonna use it and saying what it is, it's not a bonus. This is not a pleasant extra thing that we're getting. There's nothing pleasant about this. This is money that is paid to us in exchange for something that has been lost, damaged, or for a problem. Our lives have been damaged. We have lost times with our family, our pets, medical issues we're facing. This is compensation for what we are doing and what we have done. And a one-time bonus is not enough. This needs to be compensated back for what we have already done and what we are going to continue to do, because what's going on with the fire department, from my understanding, is affecting the movement forward with dispatch being taken over. So this needs to be handled appropriately. There are so much funds, so many funds that are available that when you tell me that you don't have it, I'm gonna call bullshit, because you do. I'm down dispatchers. I've been down dispatchers. I've been down at least 2 dispatchers for years now. The money exists in their salaries. I know that it is there. Please use it appropriately to take care of us. That's what I'm asking, is look at what we're going through, and we're still going through. I'm working the next 2 days. I'm on intermittent. I can return for intermittent time. I'm back the next 2 days because if I didn't come in, you would have no one at that desk tomorrow. We don't have any help from Willamette Valley. We don't have help from Astoria or Seaside until the weekend, and they are covering day shifts and night shifts. You would have no one this morning. If I am sick, if I am unable to do my job tomorrow, you have no one. Keep that in mind. Should I be there? Yeah, I mean, I can do the job. Am I pissed off? Yes. This needs to get taken care of. I don't know how much more urgent I can make this to all of you. And I know that you do understand to some degree, but I am literally pleading to get this in gear. This needs to be taken care of. Dispatch needs to get moved over. I don't care what red tape is out there. Work your problems out with them. There's no time for games right now. Our lives are at stake. We are the ones doing the job. We are the ones that it is killing every single day. Not you, so don't tell me that you understand, because you don't. You haven't sat in the chair. You don't know what it's like. And Wendy's taking on my responsibilities. That's not her job. She is basically the sole one responsible for making sure that someone is in that chair.
Thank you, Katie.
Please.
Anyone else?
Please say your name legibly.
You know he won't. He's got his fingerprints.
I gotta work in the word bifurcate too. Oh, my God.
Well, he knows what it means now.
So.
My name is Barry Brewster. I live in Toledo. I have a question for Council President Bush.
Mhm.
In the early part of September, did you have a meeting with other council members in your living room?
Point of order, this is This is a moment for you to offer comments to council, not an opportunity to engage discussion with council.
My comment is, I have information to believe that the council had improper meetings the early part of September. And I would like that to be addressed, please, and I would like that to be forthcoming in this meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address council? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Cheryl, you have 3 minutes.
Hi there, it's Cheryl Duprat, and I just wanted to mention regarding Katie's presentation. While my heart does go out to her, and I understand that she is having a difficult time, from what I know in the past, it's not appropriate for council to have direct communications regarding compensation outside of the labor negotiation process, because it is an emotional thing and we have budgets and processes in place for a reason. There are comparables that are used to set salaries, and anything that we do to vary from those comparables impacts all cities of our size up and down the coast. And so there is a lot more to be considered. While your heart would go out to someone making such an emotional plea, there is some sort of due diligence regarding the expenditures of taxpayer dollars responsibly and within the negotiation process. And so I just wanted to give that input for your consideration. That's all I have.
Thank you, Cheryl. Kara? Kara, did you still want to speak? Be sure to sign in, please.
My name is Kara Ammons, and I have a couple things that I'd like to bring up as discussion. I am concerned about dispatch and the experience that I've had working there 12 years, 2 years part-time, 10 years full-time. And first off, I'd like to say that I left the city on good terms after I dispatched. And I'm putting it out on the table. If you guys need help, I'd be there if you take me. I know 3 other dispatchers who left, not because of money reasons, but because of morale reasons and the way they were treated. And they were some of the best dispatchers I've worked with. And I bet you that if you ask them, that they might consider coming back to help too. I do have a deep concern about some videos that were leaked to the media. And as a dispatcher, I do know how those records are kept and how those cameras are ran in dispatch. And it makes me wonder how those got disseminated to the public. I don't know if they were part of the investigation. I don't know how they were leaked, but I do know the process of that, and it is concerning that they were leaked. Not really as to what was said, I'm not going to address that, but just the fact of the process, how they got out. I really feel for the dispatchers because I know what it's like to sit in that chair and not be able to leave, not be able to move, not be able to go to the bathroom, and not be able to eat. And I don't know if we're to the point that we're too gone to have dispatch here, but I am telling you that I really think it points to a leadership issue and a morale issue. You don't have people who are longevity type employees that just get up and walk out for no reason. It's a leadership issue, and it really needs to be addressed, because even if the dispatch center goes away, we still have great police officers that are going to be subject to that same morale and that same leadership. And I do not want to lose a police department on top of the dispatch center. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. Anyone else wish to address council this evening? Anyone else online, Arlene?
Oh, if anyone's online, please raise your hands. Yep, Cynthia George.
There.
All right, Cynthia, you may speak. You have 3 minutes.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
not muted. Doesn't look like she's muted. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Cynthia, do you have your microphone on?
If you can hear us, lower your hand.
Nobody else has,
Oh, sure, Lord. You've done.
Cynthia? I don't have any other hands raised.
All right, thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Anyone else wish to address council?
I just,
Okay, please come up.
And I won't go over my time.
no, we haven't heard that sound go off. We have a really neat chime. That's kind of like.
Here to turn.
Lisa's not here to turn on all our bells.
My alarm's off. What's the alarm on?
Yeah, we kind of like that.
Oh.
So am I understanding that we can't ask council questions and us be answered, right?
Yeah, this is a time.
This is the time
We do
for-
this in school district meetings over in Sweetham too. It's a time for public comments, and part of it is we don't want to go into your 3 minutes. It's your statement.
Then I will stand back down.
No, you can't.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I do want to discuss the tape that was released in the news media, regardless of how it got out there. My concern is because I have been a subject to some of the hostilities in these meetings, and I saw clearly at about the 19-minute mark that the city mayor had actually threatened to go in with a concealed weapon into Fred Meyer's. It was on the tape. And I do find that that is alarming. You know, we've got people that have shown to be hostile in different areas. And I took it as a clear threat to somebody. And so I do believe that that needs to be on the record, regardless of how it got there. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address council?
Forgive my time, very passionate. They didn't stop me. That's on them. I have issues with dispatch is going. We're so far gone. Morality is a problem. Morality's been a problem. I've been there for 7 years. It's always been a problem. Leadership has been questionable, and honestly, it still is. And it's questionable from the top down. Rod, I have had multiple conversations with you. You have come into the office when I've been by myself. You've said, Katie, we need to talk. You're always straight honest with me, and I appreciate that from you. We would talk about dispatch. We would talk about CAD, why we needed it, the benefits of it. We won't have to go through such a hell of getting EMS onto calls. The relationship between us and Willamette Valley would be a lot easier. It would take the stress off of us. It would make it so the officers could see each other. The problem is that it was taken away from us because we wanted to take other agencies when Enyur was chief. That was the reason CAD was taken away from us, because we were breaking a contract that we had made. So as much as I appreciate you going and rallying the troops for us, you told me you went to Merkley's office. You told me you were talking to Hoy over in Salem.
Yes.
They did not want to give us CAD because you had a mansion on a hill with a pipe dream that some grand thing was gonna happen and we were gonna be this consolidated center. You were taking money. You were taking money from them. That's an issue that they have. You're gonna make this big center. They didn't want that. That was one of the other issues that they had. I know that they didn't want that. Instead of going and rallying for us and saying, our dispatch needs this, our floor people need this, Willamette Valley's floor people need this, our dispatchers and call takers working the floor need CAD in order to operate. Your people on the streets, your officers need CAD to operate. That's not what it was about. It was never to fight for dispatch. It was never to fight for an officer. It was to fight to have a great CAD system so that we could be on the hill and operate this big grand center. As much as I appreciate what you tried to do, I have no doubt that it was nothing but a disservice to us. It got us nowhere. It got us nowhere. And I guarantee if you ask anybody up here, did they know that you were going and talking to all those people? I mean, I don't know, but a one-man show going out there and trying to rally, or trying to scare them into it, I don't know what your motive was. It backfired and it's hurt us. It's one of the reasons that we can't keep staff. It's one of the reasons people don't want to stay there. People I've worked with are scared to be alone because they don't want to mess up a medical call. I've lost 2 people because that was a primary concern of them. It made the job harder. It didn't do us any good.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address council? All right, seeing none, we will move into decision items. Oh, we did?
Still been up.
Is it the same?
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Cynthia, did you have additional comments? Lowering your hand.
Okay. Right, we'll move into decision items. First item, consideration of a contract for an external investigation and delegating signature authority on engagement letter. Mike?
Mayor, council, as we discussed, there is, there have been conversations with Miller Nash, who did do some conflict checks related to specific written complaints. That was intended for that. Given the council, given our discussion, I'm not sure how the council wishes to proceed.
Council, comments?
I think we were gonna wait a week on this. So
Well, we need to have that out and
Okay, we have been given some options and we're still exploring our options in that regard. And so we as a council feel like we need to deliberate to make sure that we're going in the right direction. We don't want to remake some of the same mistakes we've made in the past.
Okay.
so the question is, do we want to make sure it's on the next board decision?
Yes.
Then I would move that we table this discussion until our next public meeting.
Yeah, we had some fruitful discussion about this in our executive meeting. It's prudent for us to take a look at it next week and spend the week really just commiserating about the whole issue.
One of the things that's really important, we talked in last week's special meeting about wanting this to be public, wanting to look at our city government in a kind of larger scale than some of the investigations have happened in the past year. One of the things that we are absolutely considering and why this, I think, requires this extra time is we need to make sure that this investigation is practical, that we're not getting so broad that it's not useful or that it's not really as transparent or examining our city in the way that it needs to, that we are narrowing it to the point that we're not including people who have no business being included in an investigation of this nature. You know, a part-time librarian probably doesn't need to be included in some of the things that are being investigated here. So we want to make sure that we're doing this deliberately. We want to make sure that we're doing this in a way that helps you to trust us as we move forward and to know that we are that we're doing this right for the community. So just some comments on my own part for why this might be taking a little longer than we had initially thought that it would for making this decision.
All right, I have moved and Frank has seconded that we table this item until our next public meeting, which is currently scheduled for next Wednesday. Take a roll call vote. Council Mix,
Yes.
Council Keating,
Yes.
Council Burns,
Yes.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Councilor Sylvia,
Yes, sir.
and I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, consideration of appointment of interim city manager and or signature authority to continue city operations. Mike?
Mayor, council, as my email providing advice prior to this meeting, there are definite gaps in authorities. The emergency operations plan requires, is kind of used in conjunction with the Toledo Municipal Code chapter on emergencies, which requires the city manager or whoever's designated as that emergency position to submit a resolution to council, and it needs to be approved within 7 days for there to be an emergency. So we don't have that. We would like to appoint somebody for a very short time, or just have staff would ask for signature authority to continue operations. And I'm okay doing the latter, but that's Cindy, it's signing bills so that Cindy can pay invoices. It's signing time cards so people can get paid, although we're gonna pay them regardless. They've been advised legally we need to pay them, and the department heads have just been told they should sign them now. But there's a lot of authorities given to the city manager or interim city manager that really there's no mechanism for somebody to do that if the position's empty.
Council?
We need to do something to make sure that we're paying our bills and Mike,
So who do I talk to? I need to hire somebody. Cause I got people that are wanting to become cops, so how do I address that issue?
Good news.
Love to hear that.
That's really good news. Yeah.
If I don't have a city manager, I can't hire,
I know.
so.
We need to get one in here. An interim brought in as soon as we possibly can.
Well, the soonest that if we need an interim city manager would be probably next Friday, week from Friday. Right now, the interims that the people who have put out their resumes is willing to be interim. The two that have responded to me, I have laid out the timeline for things, and neither one of them want to be interim for a week because that might be all the time they have. So that's where we run into that issue. Now, we could elevate a department head, I think, and give them that signature authority. Don't think that is outside the realm of what our emergency states.
Does that give the authority to hire or delegate hiring?
No,
Well, this also isn't defined, staffing vacancies wouldn't qualify as an emergency.
No.
correct.
And there is no, aside from the emergency, there is no other plan out there for
Right.
non-emergency administrative functions.
Correct. But I think we could, within our municipal code and just general practice, we could give that authority to one of our department heads. Mike, is that within the realm of?
Yeah.
As you understand it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So who would we
yeah, well, I'm asking all of you. Okay, who should have that authority to just make sure the payroll and our bills get paid? I mean, I would be happy with either of the two department heads that are here right now. I don't think that this is beyond the realm of their capability to make sure that the bills get paid.
You two want to fight over
I knew someone was gonna do
it?
that. You missed it, city attorney. Mike turned around and started doing, rock, paper, scissors.
Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the question begs is, are you guys willing to do so?
We'll do whatever is necessary to make sure the city functions.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Am I seeing you nod your head back there? Mike?
I'm in agreement. We gotta keep
I mean, Brian?
For the purpose of checks and balances, could we have them both do it, one of them review and one of them sign?
Yep. Like that.
And that way, we're making sure that all of these checks and balances and in any of the interim situations that we do now are, we
Good
need
idea,
to
Tracy.
over cover ourselves.
They can rock, paper, scissors for who signs.
Well, it's not just that, it's also they have their regular jobs to attend to as well, and so sharing the duties
Yeah,
means they're not putting all of that burden.
Right.
I
So
think,
to be clear, it would be either or, but wouldn't require both
No,
signatures.
but it would require one to review, one to sign.
Gotcha.
So say Brian would review, then Chief Pace would sign them, or vice versa.
or vice versa.
Whatever's best for the city.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
so, and this is to appoint them as co-interim.
Co-interim check signers.
Okay, so signature,
Right.
okay.
I make a motion to appoint Chief Pace and Brian Lorimer as co-interim check signers for the city.
Well,
Temporary.
co-interim invoice signers.
There you
Yeah,
go.
invoice signer, sorry.
Good mistake.
We've got our
Temporary.
check signatories designated by resolution. I don't want to mess that up.
Okay, so I couldn't write that fast enough, so I'm gonna say by what he said, and hopefully Arlene has that definition down. Well, great, thank you. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Mhm.
You can count.
All right, it's been moved by Frank, second by Andrew, to using the correct verbiage to make Chief Pace and Public Works Director Brian Lorimer as our co-interim invoice signers for the time being. Okay. All right, we'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Mix?
Yep.
Counselor Burns?
Yes, please.
Council President Bush?
Yes.
Let's see. Counselor Keating?
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia?
Yes, sir.
And I also vote yes. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you both.
Next item, consideration of appointment of interim fire chief, reinstatement of Toledo fire chief, subject to possible disciplinary action as appropriate pending decision of next interim city manager or city manager. Mike?
Mayor, council, so let's Chief Lapoff is gonna be here tonight. He's probably here. I'm wearing contacts, so I can't see where. Is more than willing to help the city. There is also the possibility of reinstating Chief Robison, subject to the next full-time city manager's possible future conditions. And just leave it at that. If you have any questions?
No, but I have a proposition. I'll put it out there.
A proposition.
Yeah,
Do you mean a motion or a proposition?
a motion, I guess.
Well, I would I would like to hear from Chief Laffa a little bit and ask a question or two.
Well, that's good. I'd like to talk to you folks. I'm gonna sign in first.
So
I'm working this process.
one
No,
consideration.
no, I've got to sign in.
And it needs to be legible.
No, his doesn't.
How is he so special?
Mayor Cross, President Bush, for the record, I'm Dave Wypoff, Fire Chief for Select Fire District again in front of you. I would be glad to start with your questions first.
So first off, thank you so much for your willingness to help us out in this difficult time as we're trying to rebuild stability at the fire department. One of the things that we are considering is the option to reinstate Chief Robeson. And I'm wondering if you would be willing, if this were to be the decision of the council, if we were to reinstate Chief Larry, would you be willing to still come on board as sort of a co-interim chief as we work through this transition?
Thanks for that question. Actually, Siletz Valley Fire District, myself and our staff would dedicate ourselves 100% to whatever resources they needed, whether it's mechanical, IT, getting training records, certifications, licenses, all back in order, whatever is requested of us. And I wouldn't say unlimited hours, but we would be willing to put in a fair amount of time. It's going to be a heavy lift getting things going again. Things are in quite the disarray. So that's answered your question, but I have other comments, so I'll.
So you would be comfortable with a relationship with sharing kind of those chief?
Well, you mean working with them? That's a different question. No, absolutely. We've established a pretty good relationship and friendship over the last couple, 3 years, and 100%, we would be there to support the organization and him going forward. And that is actually my preference. I do not need to pad my resume. I do not need necessarily more work as an interim chief or temporary administrative chief, but we would make the time totally available to do whatever's needed. I know I can speak for Tom Jackson, with the president of the Lincoln County Fire Defense Board. That would be our goal, because Chief Robinson got reinstated as the fire chief. It just makes him so much easier from the get-go. He might not think so, but we think it would. But he will have some of the same challenges. Did you all receive my letter?
Yes.
Okay. And so there was some talking points. If I could talk about this for you.
Yes,
I really
please go ahead.
Those are all my questions.
So there's some things that need to occur, but some things I think you should recognize right off the bat. East Lincoln County Fire District, with support from Siletz, has been covering the citizens of Toledo. My fear as a fire chief is somebody's going to have a significant respiratory or cardiac event. And because there isn't daytime Toledo responders, that this person could have a life-threatening incident, or a fire occurs. We'll be there as fast as we can, but there's a geographic challenge. We are 3 small agencies that serve a large geographic community. There's over 100 square miles between the 3 agencies. And so I think throwing up barriers to certainly the East Lincoln County folks, and I know there's a lot of hard feelings that have occurred, but things like threatening trespass or you can't touch equipment on a vehicle, those sort of, that rhetoric and stuff needs to go away for any rebuilding of this group to happen again. Rebuilding Toledo Fire Department is going to be a monumental task. It really is. Chief Robinson and I have talked about that. We know it's going to be a hard lift. But you've already got people coming back. And I think as things settle down and there's leadership back in the helm, this is, to go back a little bit, this is exactly what Chief Robinson had suggested to the former interim city manager, was to appoint me as administrative chief when he was placed on leave. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. And so we've gone into this kind of cyclone of turmoil. This is my own personal comment. Like I stressed to my fire board, you should make sure you ask hard questions and don't just take what you're told verbatim. I know you can't do a lot as a city council or elected officials getting into the minutia of the operation, but you should ask questions and make sure what you're hearing is actually accurate. Just going forward. It'll alleviate a lot of headaches you probably will face in the future. So the 4 points that I addressed, the access to equipment facilities, full access to the dispatch center. As far as when I say active 911, do you know what I mean by that? It's a web-based platform that comes on our cell phones. Everybody has it and it gives the call information. Some people carry pagers, some can't have pagers at work. And so it's a critical piece. And so being able to have full access to be able to put a wide group of responders on there. I believe there's people on there that probably need to be removed. So having an administrator, either Chief Robinson, myself, Daniel Morford, who was a former city employer who manages our active 911, needs to really be able to get in there and kind of go through all those names and sort that out. Personnel management, to be able to say to any person who wants to be a volunteer that meets the criteria and does it, come on board regardless of what agency you're a member. I don't expect personally to see a lot of East Lincoln County folks want to rejoin Toledo Fire. But I think since you still are contractually, I think you're still contractually connected at some level. You know, you can think about what Dallas Fire and Southwest Polk County do, where Southwest Polk apparatus face one way and the Dallas Fire apparatus face another way. And they're actually same one building, two different organizations functioning side by side and having pretty clear delineation on equipment and stuff. These are just operational things that I know Chief Robinson is gonna try to wrestle with. And then finally, getting full technology and security support, the IT. I believe Justin is your IT manager. Being able to get him to go there. None of us really know what has happened. Our passwords changed, our computers working, our grants applied for. I mean, there's just a litany of unknowns until we get in there and really start digging through stuff. Our files still where they're supposed to be. I mean, nobody knows. So those are just some of the challenges that whoever goes in there is going to face. And it's going to be it's not going to be a one-person job. So all the way full circle back to your question, 100% we will support them. If you'll have us, yeah. So, but that is our preference. That's the county's preference. And I think I could speak for that. It's my organization's preference. And I think everybody else that's related to fire service in the room would feel that's the way.
Chief, if you had a crystal ball.
I would be in the Bahamas right now with my board members, but we'll move on from that.
I'm just wondering, honestly, how long, with all the things that you listed and you know what we're up against, how much time would you estimate something like this would take to transition to where we can fully turn over our fire station to our own people?
Our dispatch is, oh, I see what you're, oh, sorry. Sorry.
No,
I
just, I'm talking
misunderstood.
about, you know,
Yeah.
fully manned volunteers and.
Yeah, you know, that. I don't know if we could put a timeline on that. I
I have
mean,
no idea how much needs to be done, and so that's why I was asking hypothetically.
yeah, and Council Burns, I think I can answer that question a little bit. Obviously, one has to go in there and the infrastructure and facilities. That's just stuff, you know, and that could take anywhere from days to a week or two. I mean, to at least get a handle on things.
Right.
It's going to require pretty strong leadership and bringing everybody into, you know, please come to an informational meeting and let's sit down and hash out all our challenges and see what's going on. It's hard sometimes for organizations such as this to almost ever come back to where they were. I mean, Toledo was, at least for the eastern part of the county and maybe even for the central part of the county, aside from North Lincoln Fire and Depot Bay, who have large paid staff. And then down south, they have paid staff. So really the swath, and it was a robust volunteer department, you know, with just a few paid people. That's going to be a heavy lift to get all the way back there. But I don't think it's insurmountable, and I don't think it's the sort of thing where it's like years. I think it'll take months, you know, to get people back. You'll start getting people back right away. And once people go, oh, I really like this place, I really like volunteering. I really don't want to have an extra 20 hours a week to my own personal self. I want to give it away, which goes to the heart of volunteerism. So, I would hope, don't, for the record, do not hold me to this. But I would hope that, in 6 weeks or so, you'd start seeing pretty good response again out of the folks at Toledo Fire. And with the barriers and rhetoric removed, I think East Lincoln County and Toledo Fire will work together as a unified unit. And then we'll just go back north of the highway and be happy. Be here whenever you need us, but not here all the time. Thanks for the question.
Chief Pace?
Is the council aware of the 2 investigations facing the fire department?
Say that again, Mike.
Is the council aware of the 2 investigations facing the fire department, the DOJ and the OSHA one?
DOJ and OSHA?
Somebody did file an OSHA complaint and I've already.
I knew there was an OSHA, I did not know there was a DOJ one.
Yeah, we got an email from, about the OSHA one.
Yeah, did you get an email that there's a DOJ investigation?
I was contacted by a DOJ investigator this one
Oh, just today, chief?
today.
Is that something you asked for?
No.
Well.
I might know.
Well, we know now.
Don't know
Brief
anything about it?
glimmer of that, I know that, because the East Lincoln County was a 501c3 and they were as part of the district. I know there had been indications that DOJ had maybe reached out to them, but then DOJ confirmed that that was a malicious phone call not made from them. That was 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, I contacted them.
Yeah.
And the guy says the phone call wasn't from them. And then I had a conversation with them about some mistakes we made, things we've already corrected. And they said it's not highly likely that these organizations like that do make mistakes, as long as we corrected which were made. The guy didn't see any problem with the East Lincoln County Volunteer Association.
No, this is the conversation I had with the DOJ investigators.
So
What is it?
that's just one of the reasons why we need to get in there immediately and start vetting these things out and figuring out what the bottom is. And, I will tell you, fire districts get OSHA calling them because some disgruntled employee or volunteer has contacted them to try to cause turmoil. It is probably 80% of the fire department's OSHA interaction is caused by that sort of method. And it's, it's concerning, but it's not worrisome, if I said that. OSHA's just the 4 letters, whatever.
I think it's clear that, our volunteers, our firefighters, they want to help. They want to be here. They want to be in the community and serving. I just want to express, I was out for a walk the other night, and happened to encounter a woman who was outside with her flashlight or with her phone, waiting for an emergency response. And I just happened to be walking by at the time that she was standing outside waiting, and I saw as very quickly, it was 4 or 5 vehicles, Toledo, East Lincoln. A few people who were here tonight were among the responders. And it gave me some comfort. I'm only 15 days into being a city councilor, and so I haven't exactly heard the best things all the time. It's the social media kind of, we don't have emergency response. Gave me a lot of comfort to see that kind of response that quickly. And, here in Toledo, and to actually witness it for myself was something. I just wanted to say that it's very much appreciated to know that even through all of this, that there are folks who are making sure that the people of Toledo are.
Absolutely. The women and men of these 3 organizations are dedicated to helping their communities. There's no doubt about it, regardless of all the buzz and noise circling around. Ultimately, they're still true volunteers that want to help their community. And that's the piece that will make this all successful. Remembering that, keeping that mission alive. Questions, concerns?
Any questions, council, Chief Claypaugh?
Okay. All right. Well, thank
Tracy,
you.
I believe you had something?
Well, that was my proposal that we for an interim period, bring Chief Lapoff in and reinstate Larry. Obviously, there will be other things, but for right now, to get the ball rolling, have them act as co-chiefs and work together to get our fire department back where it needs to.
I would think more like you'd be the chief and I would be his deputy chief. We're a paramilitary organization and we need that sort of structure.
However, you and Larry work that out between the two of you is
Okay.
one thing, but as far as from our point, we want you both there. I think that's what I'm proposing is that we still have you both there for a period.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
can you word that into a motion?
I move that we reinstate Larry Robeson as co-chief and bring on Mr. Lepa as an interim co-chief for the time being.
Do we need to
I second.
put a time, do we need to say for effective immediately and then for, to be reviewed after, what, do we need to put it in time?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I think the effective immediately,
I think that, yeah, effective immediately, like, 5 minutes ago. And then,
I don't know about a length of time though.
but yeah, length of time, I think we play it by ear. Okay. Because I think, there's some challenges ahead of them and I don't want to tell them, you have to have it all fixed in so many, come
Yeah,
on.
we don't want
I
to
mean,
box them in.
Yeah, we don't want to box them in. We want to give them all the support we can and let them do their jobs.
okay, let's see, before I call for the second, let me see if I got what you're asking for. So Tracy would move that we reinstate Larry Robeson as co-chief along with Chief Lepa of Siletz. And that's co-chief of Toledo Fire, effective immediately. Is that what we hear? Okay,
And I second that.
all right. Well, I wanted to make sure before I threw your name on it, okay?
Authorize our attorney to work out any of the particulars that have to be done with between agreements and whatnot. That's an important part that we need to include. I don't know why,
I had a point of order. No, I'm kidding.
It's not just a little bit, you guys did.
I second it for a third time.
All right, I'm gonna say what I believe I'm hearing. Work out details surrounding this arrangement.
Do we need to have a legal agreement?
That's why we're asking the attorney to look into these things.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
job, do your job.
Yeah, I got consensus to fix the relationship. We'll go forward.
Are we paying him the big bucks?
To say
I
bye
wanted
for
to use
Kate.
big words, Mike.
But can you spell it?
But eventually we'll buy for you.
What's that?
Okay, so let me try this. It's been moved by Tracy, seconded by Andrew, to reinstate Larry Robeson as co-chief along with Chief Lepoff of Siletz as co-chiefs of the Toledo Fire Department immediately and instruct City Attorney Adams to work out details surrounding this leadership arrangement.
Sounds good.
I'm firsting that. Just what he said.
Okay,
All right. We'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Sylvia,
Yes, sir.
Counselor Burns,
You betcha.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Keating,
Yes.
almost said Counselor Andrew, Counselor Mix,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Gavel bang on that?
A little.
Thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. All right. Words and comments?
Mayor, we have more items.
Oh,
We have one more thing to do with too, don't we? The, consider.
oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I have notes everywhere all over this. Stuff gets lost in the blue and black ink. Consideration of approval to request CIS to provide legal advice to council on ongoing matters.
Mayor, council, very generic. Tamara at CIS is willing to come talk to council next week, provided you make that request in the form of a motion that's approved by council.
Now, would she be here for an
Executive.
individual or with the executive? that we're
Just the
gonna do?
executive session, I believe.
I move to request CIS provide legal advice to council in an upcoming executive session to discuss ongoing matters.
Second.
I even read that very generic motion to her. She was okay with it,
All right,
so.
it's been moved by Andrew, seconded by Jackie to request Tamara from CIS to be at our next executive session to provide legal advice to council on ongoing matters.
I don't know that we will have time for it in our next one.
Yeah, I missed what he said.
I said at our next executive session.
Will we have time for it considering what we are discussing in our next
Um,
executive session?
I believe that's the plan for her to give input in the next
Okay.
Okay. So we
one.
will,
We're gonna have to make time.
okay.
Don't you can help us cut to the chase then?
All right,
That's the key.
I'll take a roll call vote. Counselor Mix,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Yes, sir.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Keating.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries 6-0. Tracy,
Would you like me to do it?
yes, I'd like you to lead the discussion.
Okay. We have been trying to figure out a way to appropriately approach this as more facts have been coming out. And we on city council recognize that, well, are we discussing it or just saying it? Would you guys want me to just say it or?
Just come out with it.
Just come out with it, okay?
We owe our first responders that were terminated an apology. While we on council may not have directly did that, we are still responsible for the city government here. And we're responsible for what the employees of the city do. And it is our goal as a council to take actions to remedy those things. And so that is our promise as a council, that we are going to take the appropriate steps. Because we recognize not only is it important for us to take responsibility for things that have happened at a city level, but also to do everything we can as a council to start bridging the divide that has happened in our town. And
Yeah, so I'm gonna add one little caveat to this. Contrary to popular belief in social media, we do not run the fire department. And know this, that if we could have done something at the time within the law, within the rules, we would have. Simply because we believe that there were many people wronged in all of this. And while we can't rewind the clock and make everything be perfect again, what we can do is let you all know that we are sorry. And it will be topmost in our resolve to get to the end of this and try to make us all whole again. Because as most of you know, I have gone everywhere and people asked, how do you do fire there? And I always have held you guys up as the only reason we can. So I want you to know that this has tore me up, not as much as you, of course, but I can tell you that this has bugged me a lot. And I want to welcome you back if you want to come back. With that, we will move to reports and comments.
Well, could I?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
Speak up. No, just speak up, Jackie.
So it isn't enough to just say what happened. It's important that we go back and with the investigations, take a look at, okay, this incident happened. Now, what did we do wrong? Oh my God, we didn't do that. And so, now the lights are on for us with the investigations so that we can prevent things like this from happening again. Because I think, in being relatively new to city council, a couple of years, anyway, really learning how things work. It's been really difficult to see all of these things happen, and yet, why did that happen? What could we have done? And so we're not looking to point fingers and place blame, other than to look at ourselves as your leaders and what can we do going forward? Because we're your servant leaders, actually. And that's the stance that we need to take as a council, and really look forward to growing and learning more about it. And even with, it isn't just fire department, we have big issues. So learning from our mistakes, and so appreciate being told when we make mistakes, but really let us put the corrections in, and then please forgive us. So, and really heartfelt apology. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Hold on. Wait 1 second, Joe. I'm gonna make sure that no one else on the council wants to speak before I move to anything else. Frank? Tim? Andrew? Okay, Joe?
So I just have one question for Eastern County Fire. I know you pointed them back as their chiefs, and so I'm sure they'll handle some of this. If we have a structure fire right now tonight, when I walk out this door, I need to walk in that fire station and get my water tender out of that building and support these firefighters that stayed here. That's everything that's going on. Are we gonna be arrested, or can I go in that building and get my truck out tonight?
That was my
I
question.
believe that would be up to our interim co-chiefs.
Okay, so they have full authority now.
That's why we said immediately.
Okay, thank you very much.
Threatened on being arrested?
We were told that if we put one foot in the property as a couple days ago or touch the fire trucks, that we could be arrested for doing so. Trespassing.
News to me.
Because we're just making sure that we're okay, because we're here to help, The four here that stay in the fire department, we've been working really well together. Jonathan's been really good calling us for help when he needs help. And so we'd like to continue that on. There's 14 of us, and 4 of them, that makes 18 firefighters that will be able to serve this community as it goes forward and figure this thing out. I think that's a pretty good jump to start out with.
I will say that I have heard that threatening, that if they step foot on the fire department, they were gonna be arrested.
Hey, we don't know where it comes from, but it's still
Where
makes
did you
sense.
hear it from?
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, folks, once the meeting's over, we can hash all that out.
Okay, just want to make sure tonight it goes forward tonight, though.
Well, I think that's why I made sure that immediately was in there.
Mayor,
Yes.
council, I think that was direction to the city attorney to draft an unwind termination letter in
Absolutely.
conjunction with CIS.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Would you like us to make a motion?
I'm okay with just a consensus.
Mhm.
Yes, please.
Thank
And address the DPSST,
Mhm.
because.
That
Yeah.
needs to be like immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you have to do that, I don't know how the process, you guys, but make it right.
Well, part of that's gonna be relying on our co-chiefs to
Yeah.
Mhm.
figure out how that system works.
Great.
Wonderful. All right, we only have really 3 committee reports tonight, and it's our department heads. So I'm gonna start with Brian, since I haven't seen his smiling face in a while.
I'm missing.
Yeah, but we have to.
We haven't seen him in a while.
I need to sign in.
No.
Only
know
if it's
you.
legible.
I'm gonna hear this for the rest of my life.
Yes. Can I ask you a question first? Did we ever get speed signs up on that one road that the poor gentleman has come back a couple times on? You know which road I'm talking about?
So before a certain individual left on leave this last week, they vaguely mentioned something and didn't have enough detail to follow up with it.
Can't
So
remember.
when they return,
Right.
I hope that they provide the proper information or let that individual know the proper avenues to get a hold of me and bring up the awareness of this, something needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, I don't have the information.
We will get you that information. I'll look at my old notes.
Okay.
We'll get you that information.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right, to start things off, I got a letter from DEQ. We had some testing done here due to the adjacent parking lot. And we did some, it found not to be hazardous, which is great. But they were gonna further the testing. The DEQ was assisting with that and with some grants that came to a screeching halt. And I was asked to share it. Dear Brian, the United States federal government has paused all federal grant funding. Therefore, all work on the city Texaco project currently using federal SSA grant funding has stopped. I'll update you when you can resume as soon as I can. And please update council and the management team. So that was the first bit. As far as no, there's no health hazards. So that's the great part. Public Works been busy the last couple of weeks. They've reattached sewer sanitary drops and manhole P13. Various checks on pump stations weekly. Butler Bridge pedestrian sign was damaged over outside Georgia Pacific. It's been replaced. We have daily work orders, shift replacement in the parks, meter reading, utility locates, tree girdling, sign placement on Skyline Drive for curves. The gentleman reached out, gave information, and we were able to follow through. And we're putting new signage up for curves that are coming off of Arcadia Drive onto Skyline, where apparently it's been problematic and folks have been potentially driving into his driveway and yard.
That's the one. That's the one that's been coming for the signs.
That's the guy.
The speed signs on each end of the road.
Total opposite end of signage that I was made aware of. So long and short, Angel Job Corps has been assisting out at Lions Park too. If you folks have not gone and looked out at Lions Park, which is old Sturtevant Road, it's looking really great. Go give it a walk. They've done a lot of trail maintenance, opening things up. There's stairs up to an elevated area. A person in the community that used to live in that area, grew up in the community, said that was used to be like a BMX track, and he reminisced playing that as a kid. And then he actually walked back there. He reached out to me several weeks ago and it's like, what's going on with the park, or what's going on with that area? And I said, it's Lions Park. You know, our parks crew is rehabbing it with the assistance from Angel Job Corps out of Yachats. And it's been a cool venture. But tree brush clearing, we assisted the water treatment plant with certain maintenances. We had irrigation water leak at the safety building over the weekend. It was not this past weekend, the weekend before. We got that taken care of. Doing blow offs to make sure the water purity, the quality is good. Pump station maintenance, like I mentioned. Improved drainage, doing trimming, various applications. Storm drain maintenance, because we're gonna need to have good storm drains currently. Rain is coming, and if you guys weren't aware, it's supposed to stay cold through Thursday, and then we're supposed to start getting rain, so be prepared. We are installing an ADA parking spot at Fircrest Way and various other storm debris removal and remediation. Oh, we had a damaged variable frequency drive at Hammond Sanitary Sewer Lift Station. We've sent it off to be built. It's currently obsolete, but we found an outfit that can rebuild it. So for the future, that's something to look into for a CIP is replacement of that. And that's
Excellent.
That's about all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Any questions for Brian?
Yes.
Go.
You know how long that big blocky traffic blocking thing is gonna be parked between Ammons and Alderway or Alderlane?
Is that
Right there at the pump station?
Until the VFD is fixed.
Okay.
And it's been shipped out to the East Coast.
My only concern is I see people walking, they have to walk out into the road to get around it, and I'm afraid somebody's gonna get whacked.
It's backup in case one of our pumps goes down, or the one pump that's currently functioning goes down. We've got that to bypass it. And so we don't have an SSO, which is sanitary sewer overflow. Then we have to report DEQ, and I don't want to do that.
Why not?
Very wise on your part. Any other questions for Brian? All right,
Thank you.
no. Pace.
So, I'm gonna give you an update on WBCC. They have put up brakes on, moving forward with consolidation due to the city's conflict with East Lincoln County Fire District. They reached out to them for documentation and they had failed to provide that documentation to them for us to move forward. They reached out to us and Mike was able to provide them documentation on our side of things. They said that they will not move forward with any consolidation unless 4 things are resolved. And the resolution, those things that need resolved are resolution of all threatening, pending, and or existing litigation, resolution of all property disputes, including but not limited to vehicle structures, related to assets, resolution of all contract and or agreement disputes, including but not limited to mutual aid and auto aid agreements. And the city of Toledo department ensures that it has a minimum and interim fire chief and the minimum staffing numbers needed to respond to emergency calls. So the conflict between the city and East County has caused us problems. We cannot continue to function as a dispatch center with the aid that we have for an indefinite period of time. So those things need to be resolved as soon as possible. And that needs to come with the cooperation of the East Lincoln County Fire District. Unfortunately, the DOJ investigation complicates things with that as well. So, and then my other concern is the OSHA complaints. One of my officers was put in grave danger because of the allegations in that complaint. So I would strongly suggest that the fire department enact their electrical policies as soon as possible and make sure all their personnel are trained prior to going into a fire and putting anybody else at danger. So that's my only concern with the fire department. I don't want any of my officers to be put in danger again.
We'll need a copy of both those documents as soon as
The documents we requested.
have something from OSHA.
Oh, he's already responded to shit. I provided them with all the videos that they requested from me.
All right, Mike?
Mayor, council, I don't, think I've gotten consensus on everything I need to move forward. I just want to remind council that I'm going to be gone the week of the 10th. So I'm going to leave the meeting Wednesday and drive up to Portland and go on vacation. And I'll be back Wednesday, I think. That following Wednesday. My flight gets in about noon in Portland, so.
We just had a vacation.
Boy. Yeah,
It's our story.
I don't even remember.
That's her story and she's sticking to it.
I don't even remember. I think that's just harassment.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry, I should.
Serious allegation.
I shouldn't have judged.
All right,
You went to Hawaii.
Forward that to our city attorney.
council
No, I
comment.
didn't go to Hawaii.
Council comment. I will start with Councilor Sylvia.
I don't have much, just one, for those that are listening online or out in the audience, the girl that was hurt at the wrestling meet in Walport is gonna make a full recovery. She was actually able to go back to the wrestling meet towards the end of it. It was a pretty nasty slam on top of her head. She didn't move for a good half hour or more. We had Maureen Boyer out on the net, was holding her still while we waited for EMTs to show up because they had no ambulance. But the coach reached out and said that she is gonna make a full recovery. She's good.
Good.
That's it.
Councilor Burns? Okay. Councilor Mix? Councilor Keeney? Okay. Council President Bush?
I'm gonna ask you and Mike, can I speak to Gary's comment before, or should I not?
It's your time.
If you want to, I'm not gonna.
Okay. The only time I've ever had anyone over to my house I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, was when allegations from a city staff member came to me. I spent 2 days on talking to CIS on the phone to make sure I was doing everything right, because I'd never been in this position before, and I've only been doing this for 3 years. There's a lot to learn. And I wanted to make sure that I was crossing my Ts and dotting my Is. They told me that I needed to let the mayor know, and that I should have, they actually recommended 2 counselors with me when I talked to the mayor, and I said no, because that will create a quorum, and we cannot do that because that would be a serial meeting. And they said, okay, get 1 counselor that's been on the council a long time. So it was me, it was Jackie, it was the mayor, and Chief Pace. And we discussed having an executive session to address the allegations 24 hours after we met. The only time anyone's ever been to my house. And it was done completely legally because CIS was involved in every step of the way. It was not a secret meeting. That's all I have to say.
I will just say that it's been a very challenging time here within the city. And I believe tonight we have started the path toward healing. And I hope that everyone that is in the city of Toledo, in the East County Rural Fire District, and all those that are concerned about us and what we do, please go about this with some grace, because not everything you've heard about anybody here, not everything you've heard about any other periphery issues is completely true. Okay? So please, let's show each other some grace. Let's get some healing back, and let's move forward with hope to getting to the bottom of all of it. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.
Hey, Rod, you still taking